I was driving up north with my friend Noah for a long weekend trip. We were heading to visit a couple of old college friends who had moved out to a quieter town a good distance away. The drive was supposed to take around 15 hours, so we decided to split it and push through in one go instead of stopping overnight. Noah took the first shift. I remember the road being smooth at the beginning, just long stretches of highway with nothing around except fields and dark tree lines. After a few hours, I swapped in so Noah could rest. That's when things started slipping without us noticing. The car was an older model, nothing fancy. No alerts, no digital fuel warnings, just a basic gauge that I honestly stopped paying attention to. I was focused on staying awake, watching the road lines, keeping conversation going in short bursts with Noah even though he was half asleep in the passenger seat. At some point, I guess I just assumed we were fine on fuel. We weren't. The first sign something was wrong was a slight hesitation when I pressed the gas. The car jerked once, then smoothed out again. I remember glancing at the dashboard but not really processing it. I thought maybe it was just the road. A few minutes later, it happened again. This time, Noah lifted his head. "You feel that?" Before I could answer, the engine coughed harder and the car slowed down on its own. My stomach dropped as I finally looked at the fuel gauge. It was nearly empty. We were deep into a stretch of highway with almost nothing around, no exits in sight, just empty road and darkness. Noah grabbed his phone immediately, trying to find the nearest gas station, but even while he was searching, the engine gave one last weak sputter and died on us completely. The car rolled to a stop on the shoulder. Silence hit instantly. I remember just sitting there for a second, staring forward like my brain refused to accept what just happened. Noah broke it first, muttering that the closest gas station was still miles away. Too far to walk comfortably, but not far enough to ignore. We debated calling for help, but the idea of waiting hours for a tow in the middle of nowhere didn't sound appealing. It felt like something we could fix faster ourselves. That's when Noah made the decision. He said he'd walk. Just grab a fuel can, get to the station, come back. Simple. I didn't like it, but it made sense at the time. He stepped out of the car and started down the shoulder of the highway, disappearing into the dark within minutes. And that's when the silence really set in. No engine, no conversation, just wind brushing across the empty road. I sat there checking my phone every few seconds, trying to keep track of time. 15 minutes passed, then 20. That's when headlights appeared behind me. At first, I thought it was just another car passing through. But the moment those headlights came into view, something about them felt wrong. They weren't moving at normal highway speed. They were slow, too slow. Like the driver wasn't in any hurry at all. The car passed me, and instead of continuing forward, it drifted even slower. I watched it in my side mirror as it went past my stopped car, barely accelerating, then easing off even more. Then, it stopped. Right there on the empty stretch of road. My stomach tightened. I stayed still, pretending I wasn't paying attention, hoping whoever it was would just move on. Instead, the car made a slow 3-point turn and came back. This time, it passed even slower than before, close enough that I could make out the outline of the driver's head turning slightly, like they were looking inside my car as they rolled by. Then they kept going. I waited, holding my breath without realizing it, watching the mirror until their taillights disappeared into the dark. For a moment, everything went quiet again. Too quiet. I reached for my phone and tried calling Noah. It rang all the way through. No answer. I tried again. Still nothing. That's when the uneasy feeling turned into something sharper. I told myself I was overthinking it, but I couldn't shake the idea that something was off. Noah should have been halfway to the gas station by now. He should have at least picked up. I waited a few more minutes. Then I made a decision I still can't fully explain. I got out of the car. Maybe it was frustration, maybe it was panic, but sitting there felt worse than moving. I locked the car behind me and started walking down the road in the direction Noah had gone. The highway stretched out endlessly in both directions, swallowed by darkness. Every sound felt exaggerated. My footsteps, my breathing, even the distant hum of wind felt like it was coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. I checked my phone again. Still no signal from Noah. I kept walking. 15 minutes passed. Then I heard it. A faint sound ahead. A ringtone. I stopped immediately. It was coming from somewhere off the road, slightly into the grass. I stepped closer, squinting into the dark. That's when I saw a small glow. A phone screen. I called out his name quietly. No answer. The ringing stopped, then started again, confirming it was his phone. I moved closer, stepping off the pavement into uneven ground. The grass was tall enough to hide most of what was there. Then I heard his voice, low, urgent. Don't come any closer. I froze. It was Noah. But I still couldn't see him. The phone was on the ground, glowing faintly a few feet away from me. Then his voice came again, sharper this time. Get down. Something in his tone made me obey without thinking. I dropped immediately into the grass. That's when I heard it. A car rolling slowly down the highway behind me. The same car. The same slow, searching movement from earlier. It passed the area once, then again. Then it turned around. Headlights sweeping the empty road like they were looking for something specific. I stayed still, barely breathing, while the car circled the stretch of highway like it was trying to find a reason to stop. Eventually, it moved on. The sound faded. Only then did Noah shift closer to me, crawling through the grass. He told me everything in a rushed whisper. The car that pulled up earlier, the driver who offered him a ride, the way the guy didn't react normally when he said no, like refusal wasn't part of the plan. Noah said he ran, and when he did, the driver didn't chase on foot. He just got back in his car and followed slowly, waiting. That's why Noah hid. That's why he dropped his phone. That's why he told me to stay down. We didn't wait for anything else. We got up, stayed off the road as much as we could, and made it to the gas station on foot, taking the long way through the grass whenever we heard engines in the distance. When we finally reached help, I thought it was over. But even after police came and took the report, there was no sign of the car. No record, no plate, nothing they could track. Just an empty highway and a story that didn't leave either of us alone after that night. It started as a simple drive home. I had just wrapped up a short work assignment out of state and decided to turn the return trip into a 2-day drive instead of rushing it. I wasn't in a hurry, and honestly, I liked the idea of being alone on the road for a while. Clear my head, stop wherever I wanted, that kind of thing. The first day went smoothly. I drove until late evening and stopped at a small roadside motel just off the highway. Nothing special about it. 2 floors, flickering sign, cheap rates. The kind of place you don't remember unless something goes wrong. Check-in was quick. The guy at the front desk barely looked at me. I got my room, brought in my bag, and settled in for the night. The place was quiet. Almost too quiet. But I didn't think much of it. I was tired enough that I fell asleep without overthinking anything. The next morning, I woke up late, around 11 a.m. I packed up slowly, checked out, and headed back to my car. That's when I noticed him. A man standing outside my room. Just there. Not knocking, not talking, not leaning on anything, just standing a few feet from my door like he had been waiting for me to step out. He looked mid-40s maybe, scruffy hair, tired face, eyes that didn't seem to blink often enough. I paused for a second, unsure if he was in the wrong spot or just another guest. He didn't say anything at first. Then he gave a small nod, almost like he recognized me, even though I was sure I had never seen him before. "Morning," he said. I muttered a quick response and moved past him toward my car. I remember feeling slightly uncomfortable, but not enough to make it a big deal. Motels attract all kinds of people. Still, something about the way he watched me didn't feel casual. It felt focused. I loaded my bag, got in my car, and left without thinking too much about it. At least, not yet. The road was long and straight after that. Hours of driving through thinning towns and open stretches where you could go minutes without seeing another vehicle. I stopped once to refuel and grab coffee. That's when I saw him again. Or at least I saw the car first. A deep red sedan pulled in right after me. It came in slowly, like it wasn't in a hurry. It stopped behind a pump but didn't immediately turn off or open any doors. I remember glancing at it while I was filling my tank, wondering why the driver wasn't getting out. The windows were tinted too dark to see inside. After I finished fueling, I went inside to pay and grab coffee. It was a small station, mostly empty. I stayed inside longer than I needed to just to kill a bit of time. When I came back out, the red car was still there. But now it was facing the wrong direction, like it had turned around without me noticing. And it left the moment I stepped out. No gas, no stop, just gone. I told myself it meant nothing. Coincidence, bad timing, one of those things you only notice because you're alone and bored on a long drive. I got back on the road and kept going. For the next couple of hours, everything felt normal again. Open highway, light traffic, sun starting to dip lower. I even forgot about the red car for a while. But as the sun went down, the roads got emptier. And that's when I saw it again. Far behind me at first. A cluster of headlights that didn't make sense at that distance. One set stood out though, slightly dimmer, slightly reddish when it caught reflections off signs. I told myself I was imagining it, but it stayed there, not overtaking, not falling back, just there. Following at a distance that never really changed. I kept checking my mirror more often than I wanted to admit. At some point, I stopped seeing individual cars, just lights. And in those lights, I kept thinking I could still make out that same red shape from earlier. I tried to focus on the road ahead. The next big stop was supposed to be a larger town a couple hours away. I figured I'd stop there, get food, maybe switch hotels, reset my head. That plan lasted until I saw the next exit sign. Gas station. Rest stop. Open late. I decided to take it just to break the monotony and maybe shake the feeling off. The exit ramp was dark and empty. The gas station itself sat alone off the highway, surrounded by nothing but open land and trees. The kind of place that feels abandoned even when it isn't. I pulled in. No other cars were parked. The convenience store lights were on, but dim, like they were running on backup power or just barely staying alive. I parked near the pump and got out. That's when I saw it. The red car again. Coming off the highway behind me. Slow. Controlled. Turning into the station lot without hesitation. And this time, it didn't stop at a pump. It rolled straight toward me. The red car didn't stop where normal cars stop. It just kept rolling forward, slow enough that I could see the shape of the driver through the windshield now, even with the tint fighting the light. My body reacted before my mind caught up. I pulled my keys tighter and stepped back toward my own car. It came to a stop a few feet away from my driver's side door. Too close. The engine stayed on. No one got out right away. For a moment, nothing happened, just the hum of the engine and the flicker of the station lights above us. Then, the passenger door opened. That's when I recognized him fully, the man from the motel. Same face, same tired eyes, except now there was something worse about his expression, like he was done pretending this was random. He stepped out slowly, not rushing, like he already knew I wasn't going anywhere. "Hey," he said casually. I didn't respond. My hand was already on my car handle. He tilted his head slightly, like he was studying me. "You've been on the road a while," he added. That was enough for me. I unlocked my car and opened the door fast, but before I could get inside, he started walking toward me. Not running, just closing distance. I slipped into my seat and slammed the door shut. My fingers fumbled with the ignition, but I got it started. The moment the engine turned over, he stopped at my window. He didn't knock. He just smiled. And it wasn't a normal smile. It was too calm, too certain. Like he thought this was already decided. I reversed out hard, tires skidding slightly on the gravel, and pulled back toward the highway exit. He didn't chase on foot. He just stepped back, got into his car again, and followed. I called the police while driving, giving them everything I could: location, description, direction. My voice was shaking, but I kept it together enough for them to understand. They told me to stay on the main road and head toward the nearest staffed station. I did, but the red car stayed behind me the entire time. At one point, I tried to lose it by taking a slightly different exit, looping back onto another stretch of highway. I thought maybe I could confuse them, or at least gain distance. It didn't matter. Within minutes, the red car was back in my mirror, exactly where it had been before. It felt less like I was being followed and more like I was being guided. Eventually, I saw the lights of a patrol unit ahead. I flashed my hazards and pulled over near them, practically jumping out of my car. The red car slowed as it approached the same stretch of road, but it didn't stop. It just kept going. No sudden turn, no reaction, no panic. Like the moment had already passed. The officers arrived quickly after that. I explained everything: the motel, the gas station, the repeated sightings. They searched the area for hours. Nothing. No red car on record, no matching plate, no reports from other drivers. Just an empty highway and a man who seemed to appear and disappear without leaving anything behind. A few days later, I tried to convince myself I had just been unlucky. Wrong place, wrong time, tired mind on a long drive. But then I stopped at a different station back home and saw something that made my stomach drop for a second. A deep red sedan pulling out without getting gas. And for a moment, I wasn't sure if I was remembering the trip or still in it.